Oh, look at that. It's a cat. It's a little picture of a cat.
Ever since I first learned how to shoot, the issue with gun violence around the nation became clear. Guns are not the problem, people are.
A January 2013 AP poll found that 58% of Americans wanted stricter gun control laws. In January 2013, thousands of demonstrators, many carrying pictures of victims of gun violence, marched in Washington, D.C. to demand gun control. But gun rights lobbyists say such laws would violate Americans' constitutional right to bear arms, and they also argue that citizens need weaponry for defense.
How can we form a well-regulated militia if we don't have the same arms that the military has, that our government has?
So who's right? What gives? That's for you to decide. But to help you make a better informed decision, here are the answers to several big questions in the U.S. gun control debate.
I mean, let's face it, this is America. One of our freedoms is guns.
For them, this is what freedom sounds like.
The U.S. has a lot of guns, so many, in fact, that there's nearly one firearm for every person who lives in this country. In 2009, there were an estimated 310 million guns in the U.S. This includes 114 million handguns, 110 million rifles, and 86 million shotguns. About 8 million firearms are manufactured globally each year, and 4.5 million are bought by people in the U.S.
This little guy is a Cobra Derringer 22 Magnum. Got a lot of kick.
This might lead you to the mistaken impression that everyone in this country is packing serious heat. However, the majority of Americans still are unarmed. In a January 2012 Gallup poll, for example, 43% of Americans said they had a gun in their homes.
I am a child of liberty, okay? I have all my rights, I have all my freedoms, I'm a child of this country. So I feel very protective of whatever rights we have.
However, a relatively small number of heavily armed people, think about 20% of the population, own 65% of U.S. firepower.
If you ask me where has been the one area where I feel that I've been most frustrated and most stymied, it is the fact that the United States of America is the one advanced nation on earth in which we do not have sufficient common sense gun safety laws, even in the face of repeated mass killings.
Is the U.S. gun homicide rate really that high? In 2011, the U.S. had 11,101 homicides committed with firearms, and this amounted to about 70% of all homicides. That's a rate of about 3.6 gun killings per 100,000 people. And whether that rate seems high to you depends upon your perspective.
After Sandy Hook happened, the NRA said, and I quote, "None of this would have happened if the teachers had guns." I think they're forgetting what school was like.
Now, the U.S. isn't the country with the most gun murders by any stretch of the imagination. That dubious prize goes to Honduras, which has about 68.4 gun killings per 100,000 people. That's 19 times the rate in the States. And there are a bunch of other countries that also have higher rates than we do here, such as Mexico, Colombia, the Philippines, and South Africa. Compared to other industrialized democracies, however, the U.S. gun homicide rate is through the roof, over the moon, down the street. It's more than 4 times the rate in Italy, 6 times that of Canada, and about 30 times the rate in Great Britain or France.
In Australia, we had the biggest massacre on earth. The Australian government went, "That's it, no more guns." And we all went, "Yeah, right then, that seems fair enough, really." Now, in America, you have the Sandy Hook massacre where little tiny children died, and your government went, "Maybe we'll get rid of the big guns?" And 50% of you went, "You don't take my guns!"
So would the crime rate in the U.S. be lower if there were fewer guns available? Again, it depends on which study you consult. Burglary and assault rates are higher in Britain than in the US, but homicide rates are much lower.
And I sure would like some sweet company, and I'm leaving tomorrow, what do you say?
Are there countries with as many guns as the US but less crime? The answer is absolutely not, because there's not another country in the world with as many guns as the US.
I mean, it's the Second Amendment. It's not the 22nd Amendment. It's like, boom, it's right after freedom of religion, press, and speech. It's like, all right, you have all those things and you get guns.
The US comprises 5% of the world's population, but owns between 35 and 50% of the world's civilian firearms. That's a rate of ownership that's about 97 guns per 100 people. It's the top in the world by any estimate.
But there's no connection there. You'd be a fool and a communist to make one. There's no connection between having a gun and shooting someone with it, and not having a gun and not shooting someone. Some of you probably are trying to make a connection out there. There is none. It's futile. Cut it out.
So let's reframe the question. Are there countries with relatively high gun ownership rates and low crime rates? The answer there is absolutely yes. There's Finland, which has 69 guns per 100 people, and Switzerland, which has 61 guns per 100 people. Finland had just 14 gun homicides in 2010. That's a rate of 0.26 per 100,000 people. In Switzerland, with 40 gun killings in 2010, they had a slightly higher rate of 0.52 per 100,000. But both of these countries have stricter gun control laws on the books than the US.
You think it's because Americans are more homicidal by nature? Or do you think it's because those guys have gun control laws?
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many lemmings you get out there on the street begging for them to have their guns taken. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand?
Has American public opinion shifted on the gun control debate? Well, it seems to go back and forth. In the 1990s, Gallup polling showed that 78% of Americans favor tighter gun control laws.
I mean, a lot of people won't agree with me, but I don't care. I think if you want to own a gun, they should take you to a range and they should see if you can pass the test. If you can't pass the test, well, it's like, you have the right to bear arms. Go get a sword,
By the 2000s, support dipped to just 44%, with nearly as many Americans, 43%, saying that the laws were already strict enough.
Anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead.
A December 2012 Gallup poll found a sharp rebound in support, with 58% favoring tougher gun statutes.
Why do you think it's okay to sell a gun to someone that you don't know, that's not been through a background check?
Should we have a background check for bathtubs every time we take a bath?
Now, Gallup data contains another important but often overlooked point. Though the number of Americans who want stricter gun control has gone up and gone down, most people over the past 20 years have supported having laws that restrict firearms.
You have to be of a certain caliber to apply for certain jobs in this country, or to have certain privileges. You have to pass a test to drive a car. A car could definitely be used as a weapon. A gun is a weapon. So
Right.
I think that in terms of having lax rules about getting them, I've always been opposed to that.
In this December 2012 poll, only 6% of Americans favored looser legal controls on guns. However, that same 2012 poll found that a record 74% of people were opposed to a ban on handguns for anyone but police or other authorized personnel.
It's part of our Constitution. The right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny. Not to hunt. It's to protect yourself from the police.
Pollsters speculate that this could reflect Americans' wish to keep the right of self-defense in the wake of high-profile gun violence.
So when there's the inevitable backlash of the anti-gun lobby as a result of this incident, as it always is.
Well, that's not going to change anything in the United States.
Anything.
No. The United States is based on guns. Like KRS says, you'll never have justice on stolen land.
So I have to ask, what do you guys think? Should the U.S. change its gun laws, and if so, how? Let me know in the comments. And check out our article, 10 Big Questions in the Gun Control Debate on HowStuffWorks.com if you want to learn more.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my head. Miss me. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone.